Hey guys, Anthony here with a tutorial on how to create podcast audios in CloneVoice AI, which is an all-in-one AI voice app. So I'm logged into my CloneVoice account. I would recommend using Google Chrome as your browser. Start by clicking on this button in the top right corner and then choose My Podcast. On this page, click on Create New Podcast. Using this drop-down, you choose a language. I'll stick with English. In this box, you can enter a website URL. Now, this is optional, so I'll leave it blank, but essentially, if you enter a URL into this box, it will make reference to the website in the podcast audio. Next, you can choose up to 4 speakers. So I'm just going to go with 2. So I'll click on Select Voice for speaker 1. And then in this right side panel, you can choose the voice. Using this drop down, you have 4 options: system voices, voices that you've cloned, voices that you've created using prompts, and then finally, public library voices. So I'll choose system voices, and it'll display the voices here. I'll use the search box and type in Liam, and then I'll click on this voice to select it. So here is the selected voice. Similarly, I'll click on Select Voice for speaker 2, and then I'll use this drop down, and then choose Public Library Voices. And from these voices here, I'll choose AI Assistant. So here are the 2 voices that I'll be using. Next, in these boxes, I'll enter the 2 names of the podcast speakers, in this case, Jaxon and Lyra. Let me scroll down. In this topic box, I'll enter my topic. I'll go with something very basic because this is the first one that I'm creating, and I just want to test it out. But you can be more descriptive if you want to. So I'll check this box to agree with the terms of service, and then I'll click on Create New Podcast. It will then start generating the podcast text, and so just give it a few seconds. And then you're going to see all of these various segments for the 2 podcast speakers. Let me just scroll down so you can see all of the text segments that it has generated for each of the podcast speakers. You can manually edit the text if you want to. Also, if you click on Change Speakers, you'll see this left side panel where you can change the voices for the speakers. And then click on this button to update it. I'm not going to update anything here, so I'm just going to close this box. And be back here. Finally, I'll click on Generate Podcast. And it will then start generating the podcast audio and bring you back here, or rather bring you to the My Podcast section. And you'll see the status, as you can see, processing. And it will display as completed once it's done. This one took about 5 minutes to generate. You can then use these buttons to play, clone, download, or delete the podcast audio. I'll go ahead and download the podcast audio, and then you'll find it in the Downloads folder of your computer. Let me play a small portion of the podcast so you can see how it came out. Now just bear in mind that I used another AI app to create the talking photos, so what we created in this tutorial was just the podcast audio.
Hey Lyra, thanks for joining me today. We're diving into a topic that feels like it's on everyone's mind, dominating headlines and dinner table conversations. AI. The big question, the one we're all wrestling with. Is it ultimately a friend or a foe?
Jaxon, it's such a crucial conversation, and honestly, the answer feels like it's perpetually in flux, doesn't it? On one hand, you see the incredible breakthroughs, the promise of solving complex problems. On the other, the genuine anxieties about job security, ethics, and even existential risks. It's hard to pick just one side.
To learn more about CloneVoice AI and get it at a discounted price, check the link in the description section. Well, hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Thanks for watching.